Motion capture has been around for quite a while. One aspect that deters people from using motion capture, especially if you are just being introduced into 3D animation, is the cost of the equipment and the space needed that enables you to create your motion capture animations. Well, I have some good news. You can have a decent motion capture setup for around $50. And you can even create your animations in your living room or even a hallway. I'm talking about the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One's Kinect sensors. Although the Xbox Kinect sensors were a flop on the consoles, they are still impressive pieces of hardware, especially when you consider the cost. I was lucky enough to find this one at a local thrift shop for $8. Now if you already have an Xbox 360 Kinect sensor, you probably already have the power cable that came with it when you made your purchase. If not, you can always buy one online for around $20. Unfortunately, you will not be able to plug the Kinect sensor directly into your PC or laptop. As you can see, it is a special connector that does have more of a demand for power than a standard USB port. The reason the Kinect sensor used on the Xbox 360 comes with this power assembly is because the original Xbox 360s did not have the necessary input for the Kinect. As you can see, it does have the proper input on the 360 Slim models. Now the Xbox One console does have the necessary input for the Kinect. So if you choose to use the Xbox One's Kinect sensor, you will need to purchase the power assembly which is required to create your motion capture animations, which you can find online for around $40. In this video, I will be showing you how to use the Kinect sensor and export your motions into an animation. I will be using my animation in a Halo Custom Edition map for example purposes, but you can implement your animation in any project you desire. First, you will need the required software, IPI Mocap Studio and IPI Recorder. IPI Recorder is free, and the IPI Studio has a 30-day free trial. If you plan on working on only a project or two, I would recommend figuring out what animations you would like to create, and you have 30 days to compile your recorded animations using Mocap Studio. After you have all the necessary software installed, load the recorder, and make sure your Kinect sensor is recognized and ready to go. Then click on the record button. You will then be able to adjust the angle of your Kinect sensor using the elevation angle slider. Once you've made the appropriate adjustments, test your setup by going in front of the Kinect sensor to make sure you can see yourself head to toe. You will get better results by wearing more of a skin-tight suit, but here you'll be able to see what can be achieved when wearing some loose clothes. Now it's time to evaluate the background, which is necessary to start your motion capture animation. And after a few seconds, the background evaluation is complete. When you are ready to start your animation, click on the record button and you will have 9 seconds to put yourself into a T-pose position, which is important, so the Kinect sensor can recognize all of your limbs, and then you are ready to begin your video capture. Once you are satisfied with your video capture, you can locate your video by clicking on the folder to the far right. Renaming the video to help you identify it later is a good idea. Load Mocap Studio. Unfortunately, mine is expired, but no worries. I can still use the software to show you for example purposes in this tutorial. I just won't be able to save my final animation. I do have many animations already compiled for when we load up 3D Studio Max. Click on New. Locate and open your video that you just captured. Now you will select your height, which is not always accurate, but you can adjust it later. Once your captured video is loaded, you'll notice what the depth sensor has captured. Looks like I will need to make some adjustments to the height of my biped. Now it's time to align your capture with the biped. Click on the Tracking tab, and it's time to refine the pose. As you see, it helps to refine the pose 2 or 3 times. Now you can enable head tracking. I find the head tracking is a bit shaky, so I usually animate the head manually if necessary in 3D Studio Max. At this point, we'll click on Track Forward, and this is where the magic happens. It can take a little while for the tracking to complete depending on the performance of your PC or laptop, so let's speed this up. You'll notice when walking off the screen in the video, the model will be acting a little funky. No worries, we can delete those keyframes later. Let's play the animation to make sure we're satisfied. As you can see, the animation is not bad. It has some jittering. There's still one more step to improve our animation. Click on Jitter Removal, and this will help smoothen our animation. Our animation does look much smoother. Now let's save our work. We are all set to export our animation, so go ahead and click on the Export tab. Under Target Character, we will be selecting 3ds Max Biped. We will be leaving all these settings as is. Now let's click on Export Animation. Open up 3D Studio Max, and let's start by creating a biped. Select the Motion Capture drop-down, load our motion capture animation that we just exported from Mocap Studio. You'll need to change your file type to BVH to find our exported animation. We will leave all these settings as is. We can now see our recently created biped and our recently created animation have come together. Select the Move tool, and the keyframes will become visible. We will now be deleting the unwanted keyframes at the beginning and at the end of our animation. Right-click on the keyframes, make sure that all keys are selected. and make sure the entire biped is selected as well. It's a good idea to delete the T-pose keyframes. Figure out at which point you'd like your animation to begin, select those unwanted keyframes and delete them. Now we will do the same for the unwanted keyframes at the end of our animation. And then we will select all our keyframes and drag them all the way to the left. Locate where the last keyframe ends up. Adjust your frame count accordingly. Now our animation is complete. We will need to adjust our biped to match the biped that is used for the Master Chief in order for this animation to work in Halo Custom. Click on Figure Mode and make the following adjustments. You will notice that we are unable to bring the toes down to 0. A little trick will help achieve this in order for our animation to work properly in Halo Custom. Select the 2 toes and unlink them from our biped. Now we will convert them into editable meshes. Select each toe individually, select the polygons and delete them. Now we have gotten rid of the toes. We will need to adjust the height of our biped to match the Master Chief, which is around 70. The bold line under the biped represents the ground. The Master Chief's boots are a little larger, so they will end up going in the ground a bit during his animation in-game. So we will need to raise him up to fix this. We are unable to just raise him up, as you can see, so we will need to select Move All mode, and we will be able to freely move our biped. The animation will now work with our newly located biped instead of our biped bouncing back to its original position. We are all set to export our animation. Follow along with these steps shown if you have no experience in creating your directory folders for our animation we are about to export. At this point, we will load tool and compile our animation. Open up Sapien, and it's almost time to see our animation come to life. Follow along to create your encounter and get ready to use our animation. First, let's try to get our character to animate when reaching a moving position. This is great for casual animations. For example, if a character is moving to multiple random positions, and one position could be in front of a computer, you can have your character animate by pressing some buttons on the computer. Or you can have your character place his hand in front of his eyes, blocking out the blinding sun after he reaches the edge of a cliff. The possibilities are truly endless. Now we will locate the recently exported animation. Select Animation Name, and be sure to name your animation the same as the recently exported animation. I named mine my_anim. Select the moving position in which you would like to initiate your animation. Under the Animation drop-down, let's select our animation. Now let's create a starting position. Save this scenario. Reload Sapien to see our animation for the first time. And there it is. Pretty rewarding, isn't it? Now we will create the same animation in a command list. This is great for when you wish to have a character go to a targeted position and perform any given animation. And after his animation is complete, you can even have your character go to another given position to perform another animation. And this can go on for as long as you wish. As you can see, despite our efforts earlier, the Master Chief's boots are still under the ground. But no worries, this can be adjusted pretty quickly. Head back into 3D Studio Max.
What we do here is go back.
Raise up your biped accordingly. Export your animation, overwriting your existing animation. Compile in Tool and your adjustment has been made. Let's see if it worked. Looks pretty good. If you decide to take it one step further, you can open your animation in Gorilla and add some sound effects to go with your animation. So there you have it, motion capture implemented into your Halo custom maps. I hope this was informative. This was an example using the Xbox 360's Kinect sensor. If you wish to take it a step further by using the Xbox One's Kinect sensor, you have more control over what you can do, like finger tracking, facial tracking, and you can even use these sensors for 3D scanning. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you wish to see more tutorials going even further in depth of what can be accomplished using these Kinect sensors. Take care.